right here on Penn's Peak Radio and the Wall to Wall Country Show. And, we're going to do our darndest to get some more great artists on the show. But every once in a while, we have the opportunity to bring back an artist that had been on the show in the past. And as of right now, we have a lovely lady on board that had been on the show last November, was the first time we had the opportunity to chat with her. Hailing from Texas and now a very busy girl in the country music industry. We have Madelyn Victoria on board. Hey, Madelyn, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, I always like it when artists come back because you get excited about hearing about all of what they have going on, and then it's nice to hear some of the things that have happened to them since the last time we spoke. So I know you are a very busy girl and you've got a lot going on, and we're going to play some of your music and we're going to touch on some of the songs that you have out there, plus your single that you also have out there as well. But first, let's just back up a little bit, Madelyn, just in case anybody might have missed the interview from last November. Just a real quick, who you are, where you came from, and how you got into the boots you're wearing today, girl.
Yeah, of course. So, started, I'm 25 now, so it's crazy to think that 20 years have already passed. 20 years ago, I was 5 years old, and that was my first performance. Just this little girl singing at a Christmas pageant, and it's been nonstop ever since. Soon after that, I learned the national anthem. I was singing the national anthem at a lot of different events growing up, also talent shows, and it's just something that has always been instilled in me as, I was born with it, I believe, and my family on my mom's side are very musically inclined, and so, it was just natural for me to go that route, and my family, they're all so talented and whatnot, but they really never did anything professional and really, pursue a career in just music. They all are so, talented, like I said, but, they really do it for hobbies and whatnot, and just to enjoy themselves and to relax and stuff, but, like I said, I've been doing it, full force since I was very young, and soon after all that, first performance, also joined my choir, church choir, and choir in school. And then when I was about 15, 16 years old, I got a little more serious with it. My parents took me to a talent search from a group called Barbizon School of Talent, and I did some training with them in Dallas, which is about 9 hours away from where I'm from. I'm from deep South Texas, so my parents would drive me up there to Dallas, to get that training, every other week. I'd sometimes miss school, and the teachers, they understood because they knew what I was doing. And then soon after that, we went to a convention in New York, and I got recognized over there for a lot of awards. I won the singing competition at this big convention was held at the Waldorf Astoria, which was really cool. And I was around 16 years old already by that time. And I got called back for a couple of agencies up there that actually mainly were for acting, and they loved the fact that I was a singer as well. But, being from a small town, being from Texas, I saw all that, and New York was just so huge, and I wasn't really ready, for all that just yet. I wanted to come back to Texas and kind of see what else, I had to offer. I knew that I could always do that route. I was still a part of the agency that was here in Dallas, so I got picked up by Radio Disney, and specifically a group in the Dallas Metroplex area called Radio Disney Superstars, and what we would do, we were a live performing group, and we dance and sing, and around that time we opened up for the Jonas Brothers, and so that was really cool to do that. And right then and there, right at the Jonas Brothers concert, and when we opened up for them with all those screaming fans, and man, the energy there of the concert, music artist career is exactly, I knew that was my calling. That's what I was supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. So soon after that, I got my band together. I was songwriting already, and it just made sense for me to do it, and everything, slowly fell into place for me, and it continues to fall into place for me little by little. I keep my faith and I keep working hard, and and now here I am, talking with you, and I'm so happy with all that I've accomplished and all the more that I'm going to be doing.
Wow, it sounds like you said all that in one breath.
Yeah, usually people tell me that even when I'm singing, well, how did you hold that note so long? I don't know.
Well, that's a good talent. That's definitely a good talent. And you've been pushing hard for the last couple of years. You've been really trying to get out there, and with your agencies, you've been actually opening up for some big names too, which is also going to get your name out there more and more and more. the people like the Tracy Lawrences, the Easton Corbins, the Zach Brown Band, and Dustin Lynch. Out of all of those, are you still having moments? I mean, even though you're only 25, you've been in business for a long time. Are you still having pinch me moments when you have the opportunity to open up for some of those kind of caliber people?
Yes, no, definitely. It happens almost every time, and it's just kind of like the opportunity, and it's kind of, I do get, maybe I was starstruck a couple. It was Zach Brown then I got really starstruck. I was actually, we were backstage, and this was a huge arena show here in my locally here in my region. It's a big it's arena called the State Farm Arena, and man, their production team and everybody is just crazy. All the things that they go through to put on this huge concert, and it was a sold out show too. And so, and it was really cool to have the opportunity, to be a part of that show. And they hand selected me to do that. So that was pretty cool. And my dad had to kind of like say, Maddie, hello, what's wrong with you? Zach Brown is waving at you. You need to wave back, because I was just like staring at him, like in shock, and exactly what you said, the pinch me moment. And that was probably the biggest one for me. And then every time after that as well, it's the more the opportunity I get and the honor I feel to, be backstage with these people and learn from them too, and to get more exposure and to have the opportunity to sing to their fans, and to see if, I'll gain them as fans as well. That's always the best part of it for me. And then, of course, meeting, if I get to meet them, the actual main act, or, it's even better. So it's always a new kind of pinch me moment every time.
If you've had someone kind of in your sights that's like, okay, this is my bucket list person that I want to meet and open up for or perform with, is there one particular artist out there that's kind of got that in your bucket list claw?
Yes, and I actually have a few, but I mean, I'll say the number one, I have like a top 5. But yeah, George Strait. I mean, I know, he picks up artists with these bigger labels a lot. I know that when Taylor Swift was first starting off, Taylor Swift was with him, and I got to see him perform my senior year of high school. I was actually going to miss prom to go see him because I love him so much, and I had a sign ready that said, "I'm missing my prom for you, George." But it ended up, it was funny, I got to go to prom because they ended up moving prom for some reason. I didn't know why, the real reason. But anyway, so I got to do both. But George Strait, always been a big influence since day one, actually. When I was being delivered in the delivery room, my doctor had George Strait music playing. So, I mean, that was the first thing I heard when I came out of the womb. And just go figure, I mean, I love him so much. I know almost every George Strait song. And, I've listened to a lot of his interviews, and especially, in the career that I want and the way I want my image to be, and as far as, like, in the industry and the music that I have and the music that people love, over 60 number one hits. I mean, of course, everybody would love that and wants that, but, I really want that. And to share the stage with him and to sing with him, I've even written a song that I want to sing with him as a duet. So, I mean, man, those are my dreams. So,
well, you got to be prepared.
The first one. Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to be. So who are the other 4? I'm just curious.
Okay, well, I love Miranda Lambert. She's from Texas as well. So those are 2 top Texas people. I would love to sing, open up and share the stage with Miranda Lambert. Alan Jackson, because I like a lot of the '90s country, and Alan Jackson. Just to me, a lot of our country heroes are they're getting older, of course, and we're all going to pass on. And of course, I've never had the opportunity to meet someone like Johnny Cash, or Merle Haggard just passed away, and Willie Nelson's still there. So Willie Nelson's also the 4th one that I would love to share the stage with, someone high up there. And then there's Loretta Lynn,
mm-hmm.
who she's also a big influence in my songwriting, and I just hope that I could share the stage with them before it's their time and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's always a goal, and it's nice to, it sounds like, if they're all in influences, do you find that, when you're writing and you're performing, you're pulling from all of those kinds of people to create your own kind of style and sound?
Yes, definitely. There's always something that I like for example, Johnny Cash. I love the truth and the grittiness of his music. So, I kind of, if I'm going to write, it kind of maybe, and the songs I really don't even have recorded yet. I have so many songs that I've written that are not out there yet. But that, that kind of shows in there. But then again, it goes also with the style I just have naturally, I guess, But I like to put that, like you said, those little parts, and then Loretta Lynn too, the same thing, and definitely the musicality of it all. There's different ways people see music, and I first of all, for me, I have to write a really good melody. And actually, I heard an interview of George Strait, talking about this, and I just took it on, and I agreed with him, and I write the way, he picks, number one songs, and that's, he wants to hear the melody, and if it's catchy enough, then he'll hear the music, and if the music is catchy enough, then he'll hear the lyrics, and then if it's all, one formula together, it sounds good, then he'll put it out there, and that's how I write. So it has to all, if one doesn't work, then it won't work at all. So that's how I write, and how I pick and choose from these different influences from people that I look up to.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Now, you have some music out there already. I mean, you said you have a lot of songs that are kind of still sitting in the can, but you put out there an EP or a CD and had some music on it, and we'd like to talk about some of those songs. Is everything that's out there on this, are they your songs? Did you write all of them?
Yes, I did. Yes, I wrote all of them. Different influences, and they each have their own story, of course. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you were if you were going to play one, and the first one, was it going to be Wild Ride?
Sure.
Yeah, well, Wild Ride, it's really about kind of like a true story there. I was with my uncle and my family, and we were out, here in the backyard, and just staying up late and just having a good time and kind of partying together. And then we decided, my uncle was like, let's go out to my deer lease. We got to go out, and I forgot to check my feeders, my deer feeders. So we went with him, and really late, and my mom was like, man, we are on a wild ride. And when my mom said that, I was like, man, I'm going to write about this. So, it's basically talking about, I generalize it, for everyone to kind of relate to it, and it's just kind of having a good time with your family or friends, and that's how that one came about. And yeah, and on the other ones too, everything I do myself. Lately, I've been getting my brother in. My brother's my guitar player, and he's been getting in on some co-writing, and then we've now gone to Nashville a few times, and we get some writing some songs up there as well. But mainly I like to write myself, and then I'm getting used to getting other people involved now. So, but yeah.
Now, is this all on an EP or a CD, or is it just that the singles that are out there?
This is all on one. I do have a physical album CD that I sell at my live shows, and then it's also on iTunes as an EP. So yeah, those 5-song EP, and that should be available for everybody to get.
And how can they get their hands on that EP? Is it through all the social medias?
Yes, exactly. And right now I'm in the process of recording a new single, and so what I'm doing is I'm holding off on buying getting the hard copies, for everybody just yet. So people can't order the hard copies just yet. But social media, iTunes, Amazon, if anybody likes to stream,
mm-hmm.
Spotify, it's all there, all the songs, the 5 EP songs. So
is there a title? Is there a title on the EP?
It's just self-titled Madelyn Victoria.
Okay. So they can get their hands on your the EP Madelyn Victoria on the iTunes and the Spotifys and all that kind of stuff. Or if they come to one of your shows, you can give them the downloads and things like that. And have you done any videos on any of these songs?
Yes, I have a music video that I had done on my latest single that I had out. He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor, and obviously, I think it did pretty good on a chart called New Music Weekly, and so we went to number 1. And the music video has been a lot of plays on y'allwire.com. It's one of the top videos right now in the country genre.
Okay,
so that's pretty cool to have that there, and people can look it up on Y'allwire, YouTube. Music video to He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor, and that one we filmed at a dance hall here in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas. So yeah, it's really neat. Y'all check it out.
All right, so they can check that out as well. I think what we're going to do, Madelyn, is if you can hang in there for just a little bit yet, I think we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to play this Wild Ride song for our listening audience to give them a little listen. And you mentioned this is a little bit more of a faster tempo, kind of like an upbeat, nice, fun party song kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just something that people can, ride along to. A lot of my friends or people, fans, they say they love to crank it up while they're driving, and good driving on the road song.
All right. Well, Wild Ride is coming up from Madelyn Victoria. Remember, you can find her information at MadelynVictoriaMusic.com. And that website is under construction at the moment. You're coming out with a new website soon?
Yes, I am. We're all working on, new material, new song, new video, new website, all of it. We're working on this summer. But people can still see my shows and links to social media music on there.
Okay, and they can see the video. He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor on there as well.
Yes.
Awesome. So you can check out this at MadelynVictoriaMusic.com. She's on the social medias. We'll talk more about some of the things that might be a little bit closer to Madelyn's heart, and also how you can reach her on all the social medias. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we got a tune of hers called Wild Ride. If you can hang in there for just a little bit, Madelyn, right?
Yes.
All right. We'll be back with more of her and her music, and find out just a little bit more about this lovely lady coming up right after the break. Madelyn Victoria and Wall to Wall Country. More coming up. And there you go, Madelyn Victoria and Wild Ride, taking you to a whole nother level of bouncing around in the woods. It's a little something from a little girl, a very powerful tune from you, man. That's a lot of fun. I can see how people are enjoying driving down the road and kind of bouncing along and singing along to that one.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Absolutely. I'm sure you get quite the response when you're doing that one live, too. Everybody kind of just, rocking out with you a little bit.
Yes. It's always fun to sing that one live, too.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And, it sounds like, even like the band probably has a great time just playing that and having a fine time with that one for sure.
Yes.
And that's the thing, you're getting your audience involved and having some fun with the people when they're there listening. They obviously, you don't want to be putting them asleep, Yeah.
Exactly.
And now we're gonna feature another one of your songs here in just a minute, but I do want to touch on something really quickly. Now you have all the social medias going on. You're on the Facebook and the Twitter and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And if people are interested in chatting with you, are you the person who answers most of that, or do you have somebody who does that for you? How does that work?
Yeah, it's me. At least for now, I kind of want to keep it that way. I like connecting with everybody and talking when they have a question or something. Comment. I'll like it. I'll comment back. People. It's just I have two still. I still have my personal Facebook too, and but my page is there. And either way, I use my personal one to promote my music as well. So sometimes the limit of friends is like 5,000, right? So right now I have like 4,997 or something like that. So I always see, who's getting in for the friend request, and but either way, I'm on there, guys, and I'd love to connect with everybody, and yeah.
Yeah, well, that's cool. We've been friends and we've chatted on there a little bit and stuff, and it's nice that you have your personal one up too, and your I love the puppy dog on your.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's really cute.
He recently, passed on, but he's been with us for a long time, 15 years. So I have him on there just remembering him.
Oh, that's really cute. But. I think it's a nice way that artists can stay in touch with their fans and find out exactly what their fans are looking for and how they can stay in touch and get your music and this and that and the other thing. So that's really cool, and it's nice to hear that you are the person chatting, and hopefully that's something that you can continue to do. I've talked to a lot of different artists, and even some of the bigger artists that I've spoken to. Some definitely have to hand it off. They're a little bit busy, but I think the majority of most at least try, to kind of at least pay attention to what's going on and answer back every once in a while. So that's always a cool thing to do. And I know you like staying in touch and doing some things personally. And one of the things that I'd like to touch on, is you're so involved with children on a couple of different levels. Do you want to explain to the listening audience about some of the things that you do by volunteering and helping with special needs children and this event that you host yourself and you've created and hosted. You want to give our listening audience a little touch on that?
Yes, definitely. Like you said, it's always just been something in my heart, close in my heart. Children. I believe of course, it's a fact they're our future, and just, I hold them dear to my heart, and especially those who are hurt and who are, not necessarily have a life that not as joyous as others. And I guess I'll start off, when I was in high school, I was part of a community service group, and I put it together. I was president of this club, and we did a lot of, events for children, and one of them, we did a whole year of child abuse awareness. And so we put presentations together. We would give presentations out to our whole high school, and, to make sure that if they know anybody who's going through something, the hotlines to call, that the awareness going on. And then we do activities also to support these children. And there's an organization already also locally here in our county called Maggie's House, and there's a whole other story with that. But, we donated, teddy bears, and it's basically a safe house for children. And while the investigation is going on with the families, these children come in, and it looks like a big playpen for the children. And so we bought them teddy bears, and, we get donations from everybody, and we did that for these children. And then even now, I donate, whatever I can, as far as money goes. I don't make, I don't make any money at all whatsoever, but whatever I have, I donate to them, and I always want to help these children. And then also, I've been going to the hospitals during Christmas time for a while now, since high school. And so, I like to think more than just, Christmas as being a joyous time with my family. Of course, you got to appreciate that and appreciate the blessings that you already have. But then I also know that not everybody has what I have, whatever it is that I have. Some people don't even have that. And so I like to go out and use my, whatever I can do, and that's, my voice and my singing, and to sing to them during this time where they're in the hospital. There are a lot of children that are in the hospital during Christmas time and don't get to be home and open their presents there at home. And so, different times throughout the month of December, I'll make different dates of going to these, different hospitals and different organizations, and, I'll either get donations as well of different little toys for these children, or I'll make, I crochet, little scarves and hats for the children. Or one year we actually made little teddy bears. We actually sewed teddy bears by hand, from scratch, and we took them out to these children, and I mean, they love it every time, of course. These are children love all it. It's just a really joyous thing to see that happening, and it really feels so great. And also what I do, whenever I've done it 3 times in the last 6 years that I've been doing this, or 7, and where when I have the time, I put on a whole big thing together, a big party for these children. And then not only just the hospitals, I'll pick like the special needs department at my school district here locally. One year I did Easter seals, where we put on a big party, a concert for them, food for the children and their families, whatever we're allowed to do for them, and whatever they can. And because, these are sometimes children with disabilities. So, we do that and try to just make Christmas an octave higher, and that's why I call it an octave higher Christmas.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it sounds like, that in itself is a job, trying to organize all that stuff and stay on top of it. But, the fact that, you find time to do it's very admirable and a notch in your belt. And I love it when I hear, artists, no matter where they are in their career, to always find a moment here or there to give back. And, I believe that, or give forward, whatever you want to call it, and help, especially when it comes to children and animals. Animals is my big thing. It's like there's so many animals, it's kind of one of those things. So everybody has their own little thing that they try to support, and I think it's amazing that you find time to get all that done and do all that, and amongst everything else you're trying to accomplish there. And speaking of accomplishment, you're also out there writing music, you're trying to get videos done, you're trying to get your music out there. Another one of the songs that we had talked about is a little something called Hold On. Not sure if it has anything to do with some things that we were just talking about, but where does Hold On come from?
Hold On is actually about just a love story. I've only been in just a couple of relationships, not even, you just just two boyfriends, but I'm not with anybody right now. But it's kind of just representing when you find the love of your life, or finding whoever you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and I'm waiting for that one person to come along, and when they do come along, I'm going to hold on, and never let go. So that's basically what that song is about, and it's in the future and what I have to look forward to. And but yeah, and I hope people enjoy it. This one's a little bit, also a little upbeat, but a little feel good. I mean, people hear it. They'll get whatever they get out of it. But yeah, I kind of enjoy this one too. I wrote these songs when I was living in Dallas, and I remember, wow, I feel like I'm there at my little apartment writing it, and sometimes these words just come to you and they just start flowing. And yeah, this one was done pretty quick. I wrote this probably in about a day, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Madelyn, can you hold on through this one more song yet, and then we'll finish up right after the song?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Perfect. I like that as an answer. Perfect. Well, we have to take the bottom of the hour ID, and then we're going to come back with Madelyn's a song called Hold On. But FYI, Madelyn, I just had a friend of mine / somebody who listens to the show just purchase your entire little 5-song EP off of Amazon. So we just sold one of your little EPs, and he says you sound like a great person, and if you're ever in Washington State, he's going to make a point to come and see you, because he thinks that you have a new fan. You have a new fan. But yeah, we're going to play another one of the songs. So for Amir, who just bought the song, he's going to be able to hear another one of those coming up right after we take a bottom of the hour ID. We're going to close out with Madelyn in just a few minutes, but stay there. Another song from her coming up in just a moment. Madelyn Victoria. Find her at MadelynVictoriaMusic.com. She's on Amazon, iTunes. Are you on the CD Babies, all of those?
I'm actually on a site called Reverb Nation. I don't have a CD Baby.
Okay, awesome. Reverb Nation, another way you can find her. But you can shop on her website as well and find out where all her shows are. You can also see her single with its video, He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor, on her website as well. More of the website to come. This is like a rebirth of Madelyn this summer. She's got all kinds of new stuff going on. Primarily in Texas, you're doing. Is there the opportunity that you think you're going to expand outside of the state and do some touring outside of Texas at some point?
Yes, that's the plan. That's what we're working on. Right now, we're hoping with this next single, we're actually going to be, reaching out to a lot more regions as far as the single goes of the radio, and then that includes the radio tour, and that includes shows wherever we're stopping on this radio tour. So that'll be, going out to Oklahoma, out to New Mexico on this side, Arkansas, and then, of course, Nashville area. And then, if we have we're working on also the New Music Weekly radio tour, and if that goes into play, we're going to go up all the way north, up to the top of the country. So, yeah, nice. That's definitely what's going to be going on, evolving around my next single.
Perfect. Now, speaking of the singles, you have He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor, and you mentioned before about Hold On that you really didn't have that many romance experiences to be able to base some of your music on. However, you did write this one as well?
Yes, I did.
Is this from a personal experience, this one?
I guess you could kind of say that, yeah.
Would you like to care to elaborate?
Yes, and I'm so sorry. My signal kind of thing. We're talking about Hold On, right?
Yeah. No, we're talking about He Only Loves Me on the Dance Floor.
Oh, yes. I thought I heard that. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's just kind of birds from the dance halls that I go to, and the things that I actually see going on. What happens at bars or whatever. The situation is, and however I know what stories of my friends, stories of people I know. You go out to a bar and you kind of looking, around, and that physical attraction to somebody, and then, nothing ever comes out of it, or something does, and then you never see them again, that kind of thing. And then my story behind it, I had one boyfriend I had at the time, we'd love to go dancing, so, and then we're not together anymore, so it kind of felt like, man, maybe, he only likes to dance with me. Maybe, literally only loves me on the dance floor, like we just really connected as far as, oh man, it just, it just feels, so right when you're dancing. And then other than that, it's like, I don't know. But yeah, so, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have told me their own versions of, like, how they feel about this song, and that's why I write it. I write, from my perspective a little bit. I put a little bit of other people's perspective in my music, and then whatever comes out of there and how people relate to it is really cool. So
nice. And we're going to play that one at the end of the show to remind people to tune in, because this entire show gets recorded and plays back on Sunday. So you might want to let your fans know that if they miss the interview on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time with the interview in the second hour, we will be playing this entire show back. And I like to play a song at the end of the show to remind people to kind of, listen in if they missed any of it or wanted to hear more of the music or whatever. So we'll be playing that single that's out there. And remember, you can see a video for this also on her webpage or on YouTube, and check out the entire thing, which is really kind of cool that you have the whole thing going on there. But anything else you'd like to add, Victoria? Is anything you got new and exciting coming up that you'd like your fans to be looking for?
Yeah, well, I've been kind of talking about it, and I guess, in the elaboration, we've been in the studio in Austin, Texas, recording my next single. So, y'all just be on the lookout for that. We've got a couple more things to finish up on that, and then it's going to be going everywhere, all over Texas, Oklahoma, different parts of the more southwestern, I guess, region, and then, we're hoping that it grows from there, and so y'all be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited, and like we've been mentioning, too, I'm going full force on some new things as far as my website, graphics, the whole deal, a new music video to go on with the single. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. It's coming up next. That's for sure. I feel like, I don't really like to rush into anything. I like to think about, what to do and how to place it on at the right time during the right season. And so we're waiting on that, but y'all, it's coming up. So I'm excited to get that out. And I'm really excited about going to Nashville again this September. We just got back from Nashville for CMA Fest, and we did some really neat things out there, and I met a lot of cool people and performed at some really good, cool places. And, we performed at the George Jones Museum, some bars down there downtown, and I got to sing and share the stage with Uncle Si, of
Nice.
course, from Duck Dynasty, and that was pretty cool. He was making some appearances there in Nashville. He loves Nashville, and he's so cute. He's exactly how he is on TV. And so that was really neat. And sure, I shared the stage with a lot of different really famous songwriters. A lot of these people don't know, the people behind the songs that are number ones and these songwriters that write it. And so I got to meet a lot of songwriters there. And we're going back again in September to write some more songs. So I'm excited about that.
Well, that sounds like a fine plan, and it sounds like you got it all together. You definitely have, I can see how you got your ducks in a row, you plan things out, you think things out, you're being smart business-wise, and that's always a good thing, because you don't want to get all caught up in it so much that you kind of lose perspective of where you're at and what you're doing, because that's how a lot of artists tend to fall by the wayside. They forget about the business end of things and stuff. So, being smart about that is probably a good step in the right direction for you. So congratulations on that, for sure, because it's always a good time to know where you were at, and not forget about what you're doing. But we're going to play one more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You'd be amazed, and I'm sure you've seen it. You get into Nashville, there's a lot of talented people out there, but unfortunately, they get swallowed up sometimes, because they're just, it's a tough industry, and if they're not on top of what they need and what they want and how they're going about doing stuff, and sometimes, unfortunately, some of the good ones get tossed to the side, which is sad enough as it is. But it doesn't sound like you're going to fall prey to that, so congratulations on that. One more song coming up at the end. New and exciting things coming her way. Make sure you check out her website, Madelyn Victoria Music. Just keep checking back on that. Keep checking in with her on all the social medias, y'all, and everything, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, and all that kind of stuff. People can check in with you?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Awesome. Well, that's perfect. So anything else you'd like to add really quickly before I cut you loose, Madelyn? I really appreciate you being a part of the show today.
Thank you. And, that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and I hope that we can all connect on social media and become friends. And looking forward to having you guys on this journey of mine. Thank y'all.
Well, I think it's awesome. And like I said, we already sold one album for you. So, but just so you know, too, and I know Mike knows, you got something new and exciting going on in a couple of months, maybe next fall or in the winter time, and you'd like to share some exciting news. The doors to Penn Speak Radio are always open, whether it's via phone or if you're actually physically in the area at any point in time. We'd love to have you. And good luck with everything, girl. It sounds like you're on fire, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Madelyn, and keep being so chipper. You're like a little firecracker.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Take care, girl. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.